Hello students, how are you all? Welcome in this session. Students, today we are here to study our new chapter, that is nervous system, and in this chapter we will study about the spinal nerve, brain and its part, spinal cord and nerves and their general functions. Let's start the chapter. You know that all the living organisms, either that are plants or animals, they all respond and react to changes in the environment around them, and the changes in the environment to which the organisms respond and react, that is called the stimuli. And the living organisms, they show the response to stimuli such as light, heat, cold, sound, taste, etc. And the response of organism to a stimulus is usually in the form of some movements of their body parts. For example, if a man touches the hot utensil accidentally, he quickly pulls his hand away from the hot utensils. Okay, now the multicellular animals except sponges have specialized cells that are called the nerve cells, which respond to stimuli and coordinates their activities, and a system made up of nerve cells which is called the nervous system. Now the control and coordination in higher animals, that is called vertebrates, takes place through nervous system as well as hormonal system, that is called the endocrine system. And in human being, nervous system and endocrine system work together to control and coordinate all our activities, such as our physical actions, our thinking process and our emotional behaviors. Now both the system of coordination here, either that is hormonal system or nervous system, both consist of a number of organs working together in a systematic way. We will now describe the nervous system in human in details. So you know that human nervous system, the function of human nervous system is to coordinate the activities of the body, and it is control the activities like thinking and behavior. The nervous system, it helps to other systems of our bodies and they work together, and the nervous system is like a manager of the body. Its job is to control and coordinate the parts of our body so that they work together. Now students, how it work actually? The human nervous system receive the informations from the surrounding and then gives the response accordingly to the relative body parts. Okay, and the main organs which involved in the nervous system, that are brain, spinal cord and neurons, that are nerve cells. So at first here we will discuss about the first part, that is brain. The brain is the highest coordinating center in the body, and the brain is located inside the skull of our body. It protected in a box, that is cranium, and is surrounded by three membranous layer called the meninges, which help to protect it, and the space between the membranes is filled with the cerebrospinal fluid. This cerebrospinal fluid, it protects the brain. Here this one is the internal view. Now next thing is brain. From mechanical shocks, pairs of cranial nerves arises from the brain, and brain has three main parts: cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. So first is cerebrum. So cerebrum is the main thinking part of the brain, and it is the largest part of the brain. It located at the top of brain stem, and it has many folds and grooves. It is the site of our faculties such as learning, remembering, and personality, intelligence, and memory. So that means here second is, so all our thoughts, sensation, action, movements are controlled through cerebrum. Next is cerebellum. Cerebellum is the small egg-shaped part under the cerebrum at the back of the head. It helps in maintaining posture and balance of the body, and also enables us to make precise and accurate movements. Now the cerebellum, according here, the cerebellum, they coordinates smooth body movements such as walking, dancing, riding, bicycling by the balancing of the body. Now next is medulla oblongata. The third part of the brain is shaped like a stem. It emerged from the base of the brain and joined the spinal cord. Now it controls here various involuntary activities such as heartbeat, breathing, blood pressure, and peristaltic movements of alimentary canals. This medulla is also the controlling center of reflexes such as swallowing, coughing, sneezing, secretion of saliva, and vomiting. The figure here, internal view of brain, it shows the cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata, and last it joins the spinal cord. Now second is spinal cord. You know that spinal cord is a cylindrical structure, and it begins in continuation with medulla and extends towards here. It is enclosed in bony cage that is called the vertebral column, and spinal cord is also surrounded by membranes called meninges, and as many as 31 pair of nerves arises from the spinal cord. It is responsible for the transfer of information between the brain and the rest part of the body. Students, you know that spinal cord does not take all commands from the brain. When necessary, it is able to send the signals directly to our muscles. This is the spinal cord. It is divided into cervical vertebrae, thoracic, lumbar, and sacrum and coccyx. Now these questions you will do with the help of given notes. Next is neurons. Neurons, that is called the nerve cells. So the nervous system is made up of special cells that are called the nerve cells or neurons, and neurons contain the same basic parts and any other animal cell, but their structure is specially adapted to able to carry the messages. That means it carry the message, and over large distance in the body it send the message. Okay, now it carry the signals that are electrical impulses or nerve impulse. Now next thing is that a neuron or a nerve cell has three parts: a cell body, that is also called the cytone, dendrites, and axon. The cell body of neuron is likely typical animal cell which contains cytoplasm and a nucleus. A number of long and thin fibers are stretching out from the cell body of a neuron. They are called the nerve fibers. Now next is here you can see the diagram of a neuron. this one is soma or body, and then axon. Here this one is Schwann cells, myelin sheath, and synapse is here. And second part of neuron, that is motor neuron, here. Second part, that is dendrons. So you know the shorter fiber on the body of neurons that are called the dendrites, and the longest fiber of the cell body of a neuron is called the axon. The axon passes the impulse, that means messages, to another neurons through a junction that is called the synapse. So synapse is that junction which pass the message to next neurons. Now neurons are of three types: sensory neurons, motor neurons, and relay neurons. Here sensory neurons transmit impulses from the sensory cells, that means receptors, towards the central nervous system. Now then that message, here motor neurons transmit impulses from the central nervous system towards the muscle cells. Okay. Now relay neurons that occurs in the central nervous system, that means brain and spinal cord, and where they serve as links between the other neurons. Then types of nervous system. Here the nervous system can be divided into two main parts: CNS, central nervous system, and PNS. Central nervous system contains brain and spinal cord, and PNS, it contains all nerves of the body like cranial nerves, spinal nerves, and visceral nerves. The peripheral nervous system can be further divided into voluntary and autonomic nervous system. Okay. The voluntary nervous system is under voluntary control of brain, and autonomic, it operates automatically or involuntary. Here the classification of nervous system into various parts is given in the following chart. Nervous system divided into central and peripheral nervous system, then it further classified into autonomic and voluntary nervous system. That's all for today, students. In our next video we will discuss about the remaining part of this chapter. Till then, thank you.